Grilled by MPs, the bosses of the WRU are questioned over their highly controversial plans to reduce 4 clubs to 3. He'd be very welcome. Reform's only Welsh MS says James Evans could join the party after he was sensationally sacked by the Tories. Pounding the paths to the summit, Chris breaks the record for climbing Penavan in memory of his wife. And it might feel like the bleak midwinter, but can you spot the signs of spring? Hello, good evening. In the last few hours, WRU bosses have been grilled by MPs on the future of rugby in Wales. The session focused on the controversial plans to cut the number of professional sides down to 3, a move WRU Chair Richard Collier-Keywood recognised would be painful but was the best choice for Wales. Matt Southcombe has the latest.
The Welsh Rugby Union is facing widespread opposition to its plans to reform professional rugby. The chair of the organisation is also facing the prospect of a vote of no confidence. But addressing MPs today, Richard Collier-Keywood was defiant.
So do you believe you have sufficient support amongst the fans, the players and the club officials to take Welsh rugby forward?
Yes, we do. And we understand that it has been a time of turmoil, and we're both strong Welsh Rugby Union supporters, so we feel that as well. But unfortunately, the rugby system was broken.
The WRU had originally said that it could afford 4 professional clubs last year, but during protracted negotiations with the clubs, they changed course, leading to confusion and anger.
In the intervening period, we lost all of the games in the Autumn Nations, we lost all of the games in the Six Nations, and then Cardiff went into administration in the April. And so when we actually got to the point in May when we couldn't get all the clubs to agree, we sat and we took the difficult decision as a board and said, things have changed too much, we cannot keep doing this. And what we had thought was the right answer back in the, almost a year previously, too many things had changed.
The quality of the WRU's consultation over the restructuring of professional rugby has also been criticised.
It was one of the biggest consultations that's ever taken place in Wales. It shows the passion, because wouldn't it be awful if we had apathy? And we don't have apathy, which I will take.
Underwhelming ticket sales for upcoming Six Nations matches would paint a different picture. Meanwhile, today, Ospreys head coach Mark Jones confirmed that the region's owners, Y11, were interested in buying Cardiff. But despite meeting with CEO Lance Bradley yesterday, his players and staff still don't know how they could be impacted.
We didn't get anywhere near the amount of clarity that everybody was looking for, because there's so many things that are unknown. There was different people feeling different things for different reasons. So anger would have definitely been one. I think frustration. I think confusion, probably a bit of fear in the room as well, around the unknown.
And those feelings won't disappear anytime soon. The Ospreys play again on Friday night, but their future remains deeply uncertain.
And Matt is with me now. Matt, we heard in your report there about the owners of the Ospreys being in talks to buy Cardiff. What is the latest you have on that?
Well, John, as we heard there, the players are completely in the dark still over what the position is. I understand that meeting I referenced, some players walked out of it deeming it a completely pointless exercise because there were just no answers on the situation. And fans hoping to get those answers today will have probably been left a little bit disappointed by what they saw in that meeting with the Welsh Affairs Committee. It wasn't quite the grilling that some had been hoping for, and the WRU will probably be pretty pleased with how it went. They're not under the sort of pressure that some fans have been calling for during all of this. There is still a complete lack of clarity tonight, and there is nobody seemingly willing to fill that void right now.
OK, Matt, thanks very much indeed. Elsewhere tonight, repairs to the Menai Bridge are set to restart next month, with weight limits staying in place for vehicles over 7.5 tonnes. The project was delayed by further structural issues, with work now expected to finish between February and April next year. One lane will remain open throughout the procedure to reduce disruption on Anglesey. James Evans, who was sacked by the Welsh Conservatives yesterday, would be welcome to join Reform UK, according to the party's only Senedd member, Laura Ann Jones. Mr Evans was removed from the party after being accused of plotting a defection. Well, Adrian Masters has been following reaction and is in the Senedd for us this evening. Adrian.
John, the dust is settling on yesterday's drama, but it's still far from clear what happens next. From James Evans's old party, the Welsh Conservatives, there is a sense among those who have spoken in public and in private that Darren Miller made the right decision in getting rid of James Evans from his role in the Shadow Cabinet and from the party. And there's also a level of anger towards him for the manner of his departure. From Reform UK, there is nothing officially. James Evans hasn't joined that party yet, at least. Nigel Farage used social media to deny that he'd spoken to Mr Evans. That doesn't mean others haven't spoken to him, though. And I put questions about all that to Reform UK's currently only Senedd member, Laura Ann Jones, somebody who also herself defected from the Welsh Conservatives a little while ago. This is what she had to say.
James is a fantastic MS, and I think he'd be a great asset to our party. I know he says many of the right things, but we talk to an awful lot of people from all different parties. We're a complete mixed bag in that regard, but we're also very, we won't just take anybody. We have a process, have a vetting process, a very strong one. People have got to share the same values as us, family, community, country, and be absolutely dead set on our mission to get Wales and Britain back on its feet.
So, Adrian, the question is, how likely is it then that James Evans will become the second Reform UK Senedd member?
Well, I think it's far from a done deal. I gather that some within Reform are unhappy about him potentially joining the party, particularly because candidates have been through a very intensive vetting process. Some too are saying, and other parties are quite happily saying in public, that Reform is getting full of ex-Conservative members of a party that Reform UK has spent a lot of time criticising and saying that it wants to replace. But James Evans would be a big scalp for Reform UK, which did see a drop in support in our most recent opinion poll, but is still in second place. That shows there's a lot at stake, and that could be what makes the decisions.
OK, Adrian in the Senedd, thanks very much indeed. Still to come, nobody knows Pen y Fan like Chris. We'll be hearing about his record-breaking exploits in memory of his wife.
And this is the bank of rain that we saw not just for the morning period, but the afternoon and evening as well. Question is, will it cease and desist as we head into tomorrow? Join me later and I'll let you know.
But first tonight, people across Wales can now check where they are on waiting lists using the NHS app. The new update also means you can access details about upcoming hospital appointments and referrals to hospital care. So how does it all work? Well, Katie joins me now. Katie, lots of people watching, myself included, might not even know about this app.
Yeah, it's been out for almost 3 years now, John, replaced the previous My Health Online website. But although many of us use our phones for pretty much everything these days, only 650,000 patients have actually registered to use this app. That's around a fifth of the Welsh population. Now, many of its users do praise it. You can order repeat prescriptions, get some test results, see your medication history and register your organ donation decision. But some people find it clunky and others may be put off by technology, may not even have a smartphone, or would just rather speak to a human when it comes to their health. So the Welsh Government started rolling out improvements and new features in the hope of enticing more users. So from today, it says patients who are waiting for treatment will be able to see where they are on the list, which will look something like this. They can also see when their referral was, what it was for, and any upcoming appointments. And if there are any updates, the app should send you a notification like this. But the The big caveat today is that this new feature is only available to people who've been added to a waiting list since December last year, so only a few weeks ago. In October, there were almost 610,000 patients on a waiting list, so hundreds of thousands of people will miss out on this. And they are probably the ones who would like it the most, given they've been waiting the longest. One patient was added to a list just last week and showed me their app, and there were no details about their referral on there yet. Another told me that their hospital appointment isn't on there. So the Welsh Government says more than 80,000 waiting list referrals and more than 197,000 hospital appointment notifications have so far been added to the app. But with some users still reporting issues, today's new feature may not be the big win they were hoping for, John.
Thanks for explaining all that, Katie. Thank you. Now, there's nothing like a good bookshop, is there? But with many closing in recent years, a new report has been published highlighting the important role they play in our communities and calling for more support to keep them open and the pages turning. Chloe Seaton has more.
A place of imagination, learning and community. Your local bookshop.
Hello, how's it going?
And Griffin Books in Penarth is no exception. Mel was a regular customer here until she decided to fulfil her dreams of running a bookshop and took over as the owner.
So Mel, you've been running the bookshop here for 11 years. What do you see that people get out of coming to an independent bookshop?
It's a very welcoming space. It's a safe space for people. You know, we have some customers who we take special care of because we know them and their needs. And it's a way of escaping from everyday life, really, and coming into a warm, welcoming place where people are passionate about books, and we just love recommending the perfect book for each person.
And with the fresh delivery, the customers have been flocking in.
I nearly always bump into someone I know, which is good, but it's just lots of lovely books. There's always something new that I haven't seen before. The window display sort of lures you in, you know. And then they also have great events, so I always check the blackboard to see what's coming up.
It's just far more personalised, you know. It's important part of the community. There's always something going on. Lots of visiting authors. So, yeah, great facility for the town and for people who like reading.
Wales is home to over 100 bookshops, including 64 independents like this one. The number has steadily been on the rise for the last 10 years, but new research says their future remains uncertain because closures are also on the rise due to operational costs and limited access to funding.
Booksellers and authors have come together calling on the Welsh Government to recognise the important role bookstores play in supporting local communities and promoting the Welsh language.
Booksellers are crucial to authors. I don't think I would be an author without booksellers. First of all, because I'm a reader. And secondly, you know, I'm not writing to hear the sound of my own voice. We would be desolate without them, I think, as a society, very much at our loss.
We're calling for a culture voucher for young people in Wales, which is something that happens in other European countries. So we're hoping that the Welsh Government would be interested in that, so we should drive, because reading is so important. It's the National Year Reading, and we're very keen on demonstrating the value that reading and books bring to young people.
The Welsh Government says they welcome the report, and bookshop owners like Mel hope it'll be the start of a new chapter for the future of bookshops in Wales. Chloe Seaton, ITV News.
Let's get a reminder now of our main story this evening. I tell you what, we'll move on and we'll catch up with what's coming up on the ITV News.
Coming up on the ITV Evening News at 6:30, Trump takes a dig at Europe during his speech at the World Economic Forum, saying it's not moving in the right direction regarding immigration.
Certain places in Europe are not even recognizable, frankly, anymore. They're not recognizable.
Harry versus the Daily Mail, with the Prince saying he couldn't complain about their intrusive articles at the time due to his involvement with the royal family. And the Brit Award nominees are announced, with the show held outside London for the first time ever. Well, do join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Now, for many of us, climbing Pen y Fan, the highest peak in South Wales, is a wonderful achievement, and lots of us have done it over the years. But what about scaling it 3 times a day, 5 days a week? Well, that really is an extraordinary achievement. And that's what 62-year-old Chris Daniel has been doing for the last 8 months. He's smashed the record for the highest number of climbs in one calendar year, and he's done it all in memory of his wife. Rhys Williams takes up the story.
If you've climbed Pen y Fan over the last year or so, you've probably seen Chris Daniels. Pen y Fan Dan, as he's affectionately known, has become something of a local celebrity, reaching the summit of this mountain up to 3 or even 4 times a day, come rain or shine. Today it was definitely rain, and early on there were indications it would be a very challenging climb.
Not a good sign for us if they're this far down the mountain, because they're used to this.
Oh, God. Chris's enthusiasm for this mountain is infectious, and his motivation comes from fundraising in memory of his late wife, who he lost to bowel cancer a decade ago.
We met when we were 17. We were always together. She was so full of life. She had so much to live for. And I've got grandchildren now, and she would have been an amazing grandmother. And, you know, she'll never even get to give them a cutch, you know, and that just devastates me. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
We could have chosen a better day for the weather, but not for a display of Chris's incredible dedication.
Chris, please tell me we're nearly there. We are, just 100 metres, we'll be there, mate, I promise you.
OK, let's go. More than 17,000 people die from bowel cancer every year in the UK. Raising money and awareness is what gets Chris to the summit on days like today.
Woo! How do you feel? Elated.
Yeah. 605 for you.
Yeah.
I think that's one and done for me.
Oh, well, mate, that's brilliant. You did fantastic. Anyone could climb it in good weather.
It's time for us to get to the bottom and get dry, while Chris turns around and does it all again, because according to him, the conditions aren't too bad today. Rhys Williams, ITV News, Pen y Fan.
An amazing achievement for both of them, actually. Now, on a wet Wednesday evening, spring feels like quite a long way off, doesn't it? But one nature organisation is asking for our help to get out and about and spot signs of the season changing. The Field Studies Council wants to gather data about 10 different species to better understand changes to the environment. Here's Rob Shelley with what to look out for while you're out walking.
Searching for signs of the year starting to grow again in Better-to-Coed in late January might be stretching optimism a bit far, but, well, here we are.
Sometimes, our George, in the middle of January, it's hard to believe that there actually could be a spring. What signs can you look for right now? What is there in this?
Oh, there's so many. Any buds on trees. Like, lovely now, we have a beautiful bird song going on behind us. And if, you know, we're really peaceful, we can just listen to that. And it's almost it's an act of well-being, isn't it, to enjoy that.
It's nature's unofficial sound bath.
Oh, that's a lovely way.
It doesn't even charge admission.
No.
I've just noticed here now, you have a bud at the end of this tree. This is starting just the very beginning, the early drum roll of not quite spring.
Absolutely. We're starting to see the buds. We're seeing catkins now as well on our hazels, which is exciting. There's definitely signs. There's those signs of spring. And once you start to look, you'll see loads.
The Field Studies Council wants us to become what they call citizen scientists by looking out for those signs of spring, from slightly sleepy bees to snowdrops like these. But wondering if it's worth getting out of bed yet.
I was hopeless when it came to science at school, and yet this is science, isn't it? Just looking and recording and letting you know.
Yes, absolutely. It's an opportunity to be a scientist, even if you think you're not. And it's as simple as, you know, either finding us on social media or searching online, spring survey.
You're never going to see anything wildly dramatic at this time of year unless there's a couple of pandas that have been photobombing us. but nevertheless it's kind of reassuring doing this spring watching thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Any opportunity to look at what's coming up in the future.
Where is spring right now? Spring is being dreamt. Well, George, we have a sign of spring, I think, don't we?
We do indeed.
So this is our...
Camellia. It's quite exciting, isn't it, to see that pop of colour. It makes you hopeful. They come back every year without fail, and that's a sure sign that something's still good.
There's kind of a magic trick in there somewhere,
Absolutely.
isn't there?
Anyway, the days are getting longer, the birds are singing louder. It's only 2.5 months until the cricket season starts. Spring, we're watching and waiting. Rob Shelley, ITV News, in the Cumley Valley.
Beautiful. Well, let's get some meteorological science now in the company of Des Coleman.
Outbreaks of ancient sites will gradually settle into an evening of pizza plates al fresco. TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
So when it came down to our weather story today, it was awfully wet and overcast, wasn't it? On top of that, we saw fairly windy conditions down towards the south coast. We saw gale force gusts of in excess of 45 miles an hour. Now, it should have been mild. I say mild because the direction that we got our air from was a nice warm part of the world coming up from the southwest. Unfortunately, underneath all that cloud and rain, we didn't really feel those temperatures above the average, which were around 10 degrees. It always felt fairly chilly. So as you do push into the overnight story, yeah, the showers will die down, but because of all the moisture in the atmosphere, a lot of low cloud, mist and murk around, certainly when you wake up tomorrow morning. Temperatures dipping down to around 8 degrees. That's pretty much where the daytime temperature should be. The winds die down a touch, but again, towards the south coast, always gusting through 35, maybe 40 miles an hour. So waking up tomorrow morning, in essence, it is rinse and repeat. Blocks of rain moving through, they'll join together those showers to form more of a uniform band, but this time, once you get into the afternoon, we should start seeing a little bit of brightness coming through. Temperatures similar to what we saw today, around 10 degrees, that's 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and it can tend to be fairly breezy, not as windy as what we saw today. By the time we push through towards Friday, this is a band of rain moving through. The good news is it pushes through in the morning if timings are correct, and behind that, it becomes drier and brighter, although again, we could see the occasional shower. Tends to be fairly breezy, temperatures around 8 degrees, and a heads up, by the time we get to Sunday, temperatures start to plummet.
TUI sponsors ITV Cymru Wales weather.
Well, thanks to Des. And thanks for joining us this Wednesday evening. Hamish Auskerry will have your late headlines after the ITV News at 10. But until then, from all of us on the programme, until tomorrow, thanks for watching.